in
Yeah.
real life.
But yeah, so uh, I and this is another thing that is we need the supplier agreements, right? Is that on one of these topics? No.
Lorelai and I have a call at 6 p.m. my time. So in about, what is it, 3 hours to go through that.
Cool. Another thing that I wanted to put out there is which I think it's kind of part of this, but is like a 1% fundraising finder fee or bonus. So we have a 10% buffer, and I was wondering what you guys think about having like basically every address has like a person assigned to it, or every person has a person assigned to it. Like if you're trying to gather fundraising from people, that you get 1% of the amount that they actually donate as like a commission, um, to help incentivize the whole team to basically go out and close fundraising. What do you guys think of this idea?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down for the incentivizing action. I think it might be difficult if there are multiple people talking to, or like kind of the communal pool of people that we've been initially talking to. I think it would be difficult to say, who is responsible for the
Yeah.
closing the donation.
Yeah. Well, should we start divvying up people, I guess?
I don't know. That gets weird too because, I mean, the ultimate goal is to get these people like funding the project, and sometimes it can add weird like social layers, and then someone is like feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be trying to talk to this person as much because the incentive wouldn't be going to me, and then, oh, that's like this person's corner. Like I shouldn't.
I mean, we could technically split people. I mean, I don't think 1% isn't that much, right? If someone donates $1,000, you get 10. Like if someone donates $10,000, you get 100. I guess that's serious. But I don't know. Well, do we have another way to incentivize fundraising, or because it's not really like, we all have different roles, but everyone can help get people to send money in and do this KYC process.
Yeah, but we all get paid somehow. So either we're a supplier that gets paid, or we're a core team member that gets paid. So at the end, if we don't raise enough, we don't get paid, or we have certain levels of payment as well. So I think that's the incentive. Because at the end, if I bring someone like an investor that nobody wants to have in there, then what are you going to do if you decline it, or what am I going to do if you decline them? Then
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I brought you this guy for 100,000. Now I want my $1,000 from you guys. So no, I think it's already incentivizing enough, at least from my point of view, to talk to people and get them involved.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so as
mean,
well. And I
okay.
I would hate to hear like if an investor was, investing in this open source infrastructure project and then realize that there's like basically commissions. I don't know. Commissions have a weird like, why is my money going to that instead of this open source project that I want it to?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just think it's going to be really hard for us to close the donations. It's that closing, it's like people will be like, yeah, I like donating to this. This is cool. But, to actually put like that last leg, that last arm, like I can't even get Simon to fill out the form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think once we need our like finalized package that we can say, here it is, this is all the information, and this is the start of our fundraise, and these are, the dates of our fundraise. I think that's what ultimately needs to kick it off. I feel like people are still waiting for this like information, which we're almost there. We have a few final things to put in. Then we can hand that package and say, these are the dates. And I think that's when we'll start to see the funding come in.
Okay, cool. Cool. And then analytics dashboard deep dive. Did you end up meeting with the graph guys?
Where are we?
Project Milestones Outline. Sorry, yeah. The Rodrigo from Graph.
Rodrigo from the graph. Oh yeah, well, did we want to meet with Z first about that?
Yeah.
About the analytic dashboard. So I have a reminder in my calendar this weekend to set up a call with Rodrigo. I don't think it's going to be, it's just going to be basically telling him where we're at. I don't expect this is going to be anything moving us forward. I think our next big step on the analytics dashboard is a rundown with Z.
Cool. Yeah.
And maybe that's just in Barcelona in 2 weeks when we're all there. Or do you want to do it before?
It would be nice to try to get that in before, for sure. If he can fit it in.
Okay, I'll see what his schedule is like. I know he's got a lot of new projects coming on, but put that in here.
Let's see. July. Does anyone else? I don't think there's anything else on Project Milestones. July on-site discussion.
We just went past that, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, Chris said it's happening. Chris.
Okay, because the last message was just like that it hadn't been confirmed in that channel.
Oh yeah, no, it's confirmed.
It's confirmed, and people are starting to buy tickets, and there's a Common Stack. There's a Common Stack giveth campaign, so you can just throw your ticket expenses in there for now, and I'll front the die.
Okay, I'll be probably coming like by car, so there's not going to be any expenses there.
Oh wow!
That's fun.
I'm going to do a little road trip to France and to Barcelona.
That's fun.
Yeah, 22nd to 26th, right?
Yep.
And I was telling people in the last meeting, like, if we can plan to settle in on the night of the 21st, we can get started on the 22nd.
Yeah, and actually, it'd be good to get people to put their names on for a bed.
Yeah.
Where's that house?
The booking sheet.
Yeah. Luckily, it's just the pinned message.
I kind of want to book people, like arrange people a little bit in that. I'm more gonna just ask people to tell me their dates individually, and like I'd rather have one of those sheets that has like airport arrival time and all that than giving them the booking sheet.
Okay, sounds good. So
You can action item that for me if you want to.
yeah.
And do you have any specific agenda for those days, or is it just like we're gonna sit together and see whatever still needs to be done?
Yeah, there will be an agenda for sure, but it's not going to be made this far in advance because, who knows what we get done before that. But there will be an agenda.
Maybe if we even set kind of work blocks, where we hours we know we're not going to be productive. Like we just say I think Z was asking for something like that. Like we don't need topical breakdowns, but just saying we'll start.
Which hours we're gonna
start at 10 or 11 and work until 1, and then a couple, I don't know, whatever
We're
works for.
We're definitely going to need to be starting at 9 a.m. and be done at like 1 kind of a thing, or maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, probably maybe 2 or 3, and have a block for lunch in the middle, because he made the point that there's a lot of West Coast action, and I think for everyone will still have their other gigs, and so if we can just have like the work day, and then let people in the evenings work on their other projects while the US is awake.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
and we'll have lunch in the middle there. Anything else on the July on site?
Good for me.
Okay. Narrative launch plan. We have. Well, do you have anything on this, Jeff?
So the two blockers on this are glossary terms, so like Namathon stuff, and diagrams. So those are, the docs are pretty much done. They just have a bunch of question marks around specific terms, and the diagrams we're waiting to drop in as well.
Cool. Well, glossary terms. I can definitely. How do we want to attack glossary?
Yeah, good question. So is that something we want to do? Maybe we set a specific Namathon call. Could be even later today if you have openness, availability in your schedule, Griff, or Chris, or anyone who, I don't want to drag everyone in if that's not relevant to everyone in this call, but maybe we just need it.
I wonder how possible it is to do async, or do you feel like the call is pretty necessary for people to discuss why one name is better?
I mean, yeah, we have lots of options. So that's why I thought it might require some. Let me just pull up the glossary doc and see how we're looking here. I feel like we have lots of options. I mean, we could do async and just like everyone go in and veto a couple that you don't like or don't think are representative, and bold the ones that you do like. And we just kind of have that. I started doing that last week, just crossing out a few that I didn't think were appropriate.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think that could work because we already we have a call on it and we already got some work done there.
Yeah, I worry that we could spend 20 minutes talking about mahouts, and we wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that'll be, I'm going to put that on my list for today. I want to get these docs finalized and finished up. So glossary, asynchronous vetoing will take place today as well.
Okay. And maybe Excel spreadsheet style? Is that possible?
For
like this, so that we can track everyone? I don't know. I feel like a Word doc might be difficult for the Namathon. Like if we had everyone's name and they could say which ones they like, or I don't know, like how do we actually do it? We just go in the doc and make comments, maybe? You want comments in the doc, or
good question. Yeah, I mean, I can't picture how the Excel doc would work, because then for each term we have like 3 or 4 options, and then we have 4 or 5 people considering each option. So I'm just not able to picture this matrix of.
I would put all the options on the left, right, and then people's names on the top, and then everyone just has to put one name, one word in their thing. I guess there's some people would want to veto, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's more like voting. Well, we can just use the Word doc, and it's already there, and just veto by suggest changing and crossing out, and then make a comment on your favorites, or like you said, maybe bold your favorite. But if it's already bolded, maybe make a comment on top.
Yep, that sounds good. So
So
bold the ones you like, suggest deletion for the ones you don't, and put a comment for any if you have anything to add, either on top of a bolded one or for a crossed out one, etc.
okay, yeah, I like that. That's a good standard.
Cool.
So just to repeat, bold the ones you like, comment on them if you really like them or have something extra to say, and suggest changes, cross through if you don't like it.
Cool.
Could
Okay.
you share that document here again, Jeff? Then I'll just do it immediately after this meeting, and it's done.
Yeah, good call.
The other point that you mentioned in this agenda point was the diagrams and so on. And I was just actually chatting at the beginning of this meeting with Jeff, like that we want to get the conviction voting article out, and there is one graph for that one. So if it's possible to prioritize like finalizing that one, but I don't know if
Well, that's the
she-
toughest. That's the toughest thing because I think she actually didn't start that one.
I mean,
Oh.
that's the one.
Really?
That's the one that Jeff didn't prioritize for this assignment. So
oops.
We weren't. I thought we were expecting all of them by this week, though.
well, no, not finals on the faucet one.
Do we have a rough?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Could we maybe get the article out and just like use Jeff's funny drawing and replace it when it's final? Because I just want to like, it's just my personal suggestion, but like then we keep like common stack communication going, and that article is actually really done, and then we can continue with the next one.
Yeah, and I mean, I can probably touch that diagram up a little bit. That was like actually a rough sketch, but I'm sure I can, put a few more minutes into it and make it look a little bit more. I mean, I'd say take it out, but we are kind of explaining the faucet analogy in that paragraph and the next paragraph, so I can probably just touch it up and get it in there.
Well, and I would suggest if Amy is going to make this, that she see the context that it's written in, and not just go blind, because I really feel like that's been making it very difficult for her to do this right, because she's working in a vacuum. She doesn't see the context where it is. So if the article's already out or even done, and whoever is working on it, whether it's Amy or Max, whatever, they should see that article.
Yeah, well, the article is available, so I can just put it in that channel so that, or I can forward it. But in the meantime, I think we can. I would love to get it out by Tuesday. That's what I was just telling Jeff. So if it's not done by Tuesday, I think we can just push it and replace it later.
Okay.
Unless there's any objections.
Cool. I'll get that in Medium today, Chris, and hopefully I'll be able to get to that diagram as well. But otherwise, yeah, the article will be 98% done and in Medium by the end of the day.
Where is that article?
It's the one you already commented on, Griff, conviction voting, but I'll share it in, I'll share it here in the chat, and I'll also share it in the Amy chat.
Cool.
And you'll share the naming doc here, right, Jeff?
Naming doc is actually down. There's a Namathon glossary thing, but we'll just add this up here.
I already put it in section 4 of our agenda here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Cool. Any other updates on infographics, Lorelei?
Yeah, I have finals of the other two.
Cool.
So they are in Figma. I figure I should just send them to you, Jeff, because we don't really need to spend time
Yep.
on them in this meeting.
For sure. Cool.
Yeah,
So
but
I
they're
will.
They're done. Although they're in view only right now, and I just asked her to change it to text editable. But that should be a quick thing.
Cool. And Jeff is shared on this Figma?
I'm sharing
anyone
it to
with the
him
link.
right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Then cool. So 2 infographics are done. Graphic design call with Max.
Yes, so I spoke with Max yesterday. Just got some details from him about how their team works and does further design stuff. So he said they usually work $30 to $35 an hour. And I showed him the diagrams that I've been drawing to explain kind of like our build phase, our hatch phase, and our open phase, which are a little bit more involved diagrams. I don't know if anybody can see my wonderful paper scratches here. So just talking about like, these are the token engineering experts. We want them to donate to the Common Stack Association. The Common Stack Association is producing these components, these puzzle pieces, and also producing a TEC whitelist. And when we go into the hatch phase, we can see that the TEC whitelist or a community takes the components and hatches a curve, and the TEC whitelist can invest or support or fund the curve, which they get in at P0, and then the curve starts at P1. So just kind of trying to explain these things graphically.
Yeah.
And in the open phase, we have a community and the Token Engineering Commons, who are mediated by the Mahoots in dealing with the commons, which the public can buy or sell from. And here's the token vesting period. So just kind of trying to make this explainable in a graphic format.
These are beautiful, Jeff. These are beautiful. We don't need to pay anyone. You're great, man. These pieces of paper are amazing. I think we can just go with it.
I agree.
Yeah,
Well,
it's on brand, right?
On brand, yeah.
Blueprint.
Same with the faucet drawing that is in the conviction voting article. I love it. I would keep it like it is. I just love it. It's like I draw.
I mean, I feel like there could be a bit more fleshing out of the idea. If we want to include like Zargham has mentioned a few times, like the community center that we are like giving to these communities, and now they have to learn to use their new community center. So that's kind of a way to talk about our product, and so they understand what it is that we're giving them. We're giving you a community center for your community. These are the Mahoots that run the community center. So now you can come in and raise sustainable funding, fund proposals, get stuff done. So I don't know if that's something we want to fit into these diagrams as well. But anyway, the rough version is there. I mean, if you guys are happy with that, I can draw those up while I'm drawing that faucet diagram again. And they can at least be our first stand-in diagrams for some of these things.
I think part of the problem is that we're making Amy or the graphic designer go forward with and you have this beautiful rough sketch, but then it's like we haven't had any kind of debate on it about, is this how we want to show it, or is there a missing piece, or is that too much information? If we instead move those debates to your beautiful sketches and then say, okay, this is where we want it for a graphic designer, I think we'll save $1,000, of Max's time if they just literally just have to make it pretty, and not worry about the ideas.
Totally. And that's I asked him about kind of like straightforward diagrams. He said, if you're just giving us here are 4 puzzle pieces, put that in a diagram and don't make any changes. He said that would only take them a couple hours. So I feel like they would even be cost competitive on that. He said if it's like an iterative diagram where we're trying to explain, the whole common stack, build phase, hatch phase, open phase with changes and moderations, he said that would probably more take like 80 hours for the 3. So 80 hours at $30 is about $2,400 or $800 per. He was also talking about, making it not interactive, but animated. So, you have, the community comes along and then they take the common stack components and you can have not necessarily a GIF, but animation. Sounds lovely. Sounds like, and I told him, our budget constraints. So maybe somewhere down the line, we can turn those into actual, storyline that people could follow along on the website. But for the time being, I think these rough diagrams will have to do, just time and budget interest.
Yeah.
Cool. So I will do some sketching then, and we'll see how that goes.
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, and maybe we can. I think Zargam seemed like he had a lot of strong ideas about this stuff and good advice. So I don't know if throwing them his way would be a good idea.
Cool.
Yeah, as far as like thinning down to a good portrayal of information.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty experienced on that.
Okay, cool. So next one, legal considerations. I don't think we have any updates there. But I'll keep going. Finance fellowship. I guess Tech is traveling right now, was what I got from there, but he seemed more open to, well, I don't know, that we didn't get really much of a response. It seems like it's on pause and we might lose the Binance fellowship, but we're trying to turn it around with the POC. Advisor meeting in Berlin in August. Anything on that?
Nothing. I don't think I'm gonna put in a calendar invite for everybody within the next couple of weeks. But as far as planning anything, if you consider a dinner thing, do you just find a restaurant, or is there someone I can like back and forth on this with over the coming month? Or
Yeah, I mean, usually you find a restaurant, and but ideally, the better situation is like you start in one place where people can talk. Maybe, I don't know, like where you can. I mean, what was your strategy to like give some sort of presentation or something, right?
Yeah, I guess we were gonna plan to give them the rundown of everything that the common stack is, high level, and then drill down with more detail if people have questions on certain parts. But I think it's mostly kind of an opportunity to allow questions and advisors to speak to each other.
Yeah. Well, if you're not having to do the presentation, then I would just suggest a bar where there's standing room, because people get locked in their seats at a restaurant and they don't get to actually talk to everybody. So a bar kind of situation is usually better where people can move freely.
Okay. I will I'm going to keep this on the agenda and just keep touching back on it to keep the ideas flowing, because I don't know anywhere in Berlin that would be appropriate for that, but hopefully we can start to find some options as it gets closer.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you ask, and I mean, if you're trying to move to Berlin, aren't you in some sort of like crypto Berlin forums or something or other?
No, I'm not, but I mean, I have some friends in Berlin, but I don't know if they're the kind that are planning 15-person events at restaurants and stuff, but I will start thinking about who I can ask about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like what neighborhood is everything happening in, like keeping it close to whatever the event is that day. I think, is it DAppCon that's happening that day, or is it?
DAppCon and Web3.
They're both happening. Oh no.
One's ending, one's beginning.
Yeah, that was that drama online on Twitter.
Yeah, because they're like really far away from each other.
Oh no.
Oh, are they? Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Oh jeez.
Oh, jeez.
So wait, one's ending and one's beginning.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what days Argam is speaking either, or what our schedules are for Web3 and everybody. So I think this is going to have to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Town, Web3.
But in any case, Web3 is in the middle of nowhere. So if you have to find a location, it's probably better to find it where at Berlin is, etc.
Wait,
Yeah,
is
that's
it in the
probably
same
true.
location as before?
Yep.
Oh yeah, very middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
Yeah. So probably DAppCon.
Cool. Good to know. What's this? Glossary. Okay, so glossary, I think we touched on that briefly above. We're going to do an async term whittle down. Is there,
Cool.
do we need to cover this? Suppliers, employees?
No.
That's good.
I think that's notes from last time. I think we can just delete this. It's got moved upstairs, up there.
Okay.
Comments,
Cool.
back presentation.
This is just going to stay on here as I can chip away at it, but no updates for this time.
Let's see. CAD.
Yeah, I have not heard back from Abby, so I will touch base with her.
Yeah, has anyone heard from Abby lately?
No.
So she's just pausing on this project, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, I spoke with her last weekend with Z. He was on a train, she was in a car. Yeah, we chatted about user stories. She said she was down to help out with that and also push out that Cyber Physical Commons article. And I haven't heard back since, so I'll just poke her and see where she's at with the article and interest in the user stories and role taxonomy.
Cool. And then other updates, supplier agreements. Do you have any updates on that? I guess you and Bernd are talking this weekend?
In a couple hours.
In a couple hours. Okay, nice. Cool. Well, does anyone have any other topics that they wanted to cover? Okay,
Nope.
cool.
I'm just filling in some action steps.
Yeah, that's action items. So we got conviction voting article in Medium. Pretty sure I did all of this. Lorelai, did you say you were going to check the numbers?
Yeah, I'll check them.
Hey Jeff, for the conviction voting article,
as well.
it's oh sorry. Don't hesitate to maybe just first when you do the new if you create a new design, etc. If it's final and you've integrated all the feedback, you're also welcome to just ping me. Then I do a final reread before you put it in Medium because it's easier there to give some final comments.
Cool. I will let you know when final comments have done. I'll probably drop the new diagram into Medium.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of these are pretty sure most of the comments have been dealt with. It's just it's just a few glossary name-a-thon type things. Oh, and the rehashing the CAD chart. Griff, you made a couple questions about that. I'm not going to focus on that for the meantime because that's going to require some of Z's time, and that'll probably turn into a behemoth of its own. So, I mean, for this one, the CAD graphs may be in that like 10 to the -4, 10 to the -2, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, we're in proof of concept phase. So if people are confused by the CAD diagram, I mean, all we're trying to show is like, hey, look, we got cool diagrams. So
Yeah.
I'm planning on digging into CAD and learning how to add graphs and change axes, but it is not straightforward, and I feel like that might be something to do when we sync in person with Z.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you can just, I'm pretty sure that he can change the axes in, 20 seconds. So it shouldn't take much time for him to just like, there's no need to have this giant line between 10 to -4 to 10 to -7, like in that conviction voting graph, it's just confusing. Like, because people think that will matter.
I will message him about it, but I'm not going to let it be a blocker.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool.
Let's see, looking at all these things. I guess pinging Binance.
Lorelei, would you be available an hour earlier even? That
Sure.
work? Say again?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, great. Very good.
Everyone needs to do the name-a-thon if they can.
On it.
Do the name-a-thon?
Yeah, like voting on all these names, which ones that you like, which ones you don't like.
Where are we voting on them?
We are voting on them in the Name-a-thon Google Doc, and you bold the ones you like, you suggest changes, cross out the ones you want to veto, and you make comments on the ones you really care about.
There's no way to show like that.
And then,
lots of energy towards
and then,
one.
well, that's the comments. You make a comment. And I guess we appoint Jeff to be the final decider so it actually finishes?
Sure.
Okay. Cool. I will also be pinging Kai to see if he's down to work on the whitelist. And actually, Baron, you said you were going to ping Kai as well, right?
Yeah.
I know he's still kind of doing family vacation stuff, but I think he will be responsive. I guess while we have 13 minutes, just kind of an addendum. Burning Man is really starting to eat up a lot of time, and for me to do it appropriately, it's gonna be hard for us to really keep this pace with the comment stack. So, or at least for me. So I don't know what the odds. I don't know. What do you guys think about this idea of keeping the fundraising going, but no matter what we do, just planning to start after Burning Man, basically, after DAPCon and all this stuff, getting ready for fundraising and doing fundraising, but actual work as in like, writing specifications to get vendors and all the stuff that we actually need to do. Just basically planning to start that around September 15th, September 20th, and planning the budget around that.
So kicking off, writing up specs and starting on the build, you mean?
Yeah.
For September.
Yeah.
But the fundraise, I mean, yeah, I think we've soft launched our fundraise. We're starting this KYC. We're ironing out a few of the kinks with that. We're preparing our final, member information package. So I guess my question on that is, if we're starting like hard build stuff in September, do we have a hard thoughts for hard dates on fundraising? Do you want to launch that also in September, or you want to have money raised by September?
I mean, I would hope that we can continue to fundraise this whole time, and then like basically that extending, before I was like, okay, if we don't raise $1 million by this date, then whatever. But maybe we just say if we don't raise $1 million by like September 30th, then we give it back and extend that fundraising time, because I mean, I think I'm gonna be like, I feel like I could be really helpful for the fundraising thing, but for the next 2 months, man, I am like August, I don't exist. August, I'm gone. July, I'm already going to be like, half as much as I am now. So
Still, we can do the contracts, the agreements, right? In the
Yeah.
meeting.
yeah, I just think that we're gonna have a lot. If Jeff and Chris, because we don't even have Abby, so if Jeff and Chris and Zargum basically are the only ones fundraising, I mean, that would, Zargum's not going to do that much. So, and Chris isn't really expected to do that much fundraising either. So, like, it's really just, we're all just sitting on Jeff's shoulders a little bit,
Yay for Jeff.
Yeah, so Jeff, you're like the engine. So, like, I don't know if that's fair to make expectations that we won't meet, if it's just Jeff. So, but I don't know. What do you guys think we should do here? Because also I'm trying to plan these numbers, and that's with a stopping point, because like, I want to provide like some sort of back pay for people, that are working. Like Jeff is working harder than what Giveth is paying him. So like, just like a little extra bonus there. Bernd gets paid, and like, I would just want to provide like in the budget some space there, and so we need to actually have a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with the back pay option. I mean that this is still, presuming that we hit those targets. If we do this fundraise and come up shy of $1 million, the back pay isn't going to help many people, or help you who's fronting the money, or whoever's fronting the money. So that's one concern to be aware of. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people, from most people that I've spoken to, the biggest question out there is, I need more information. So I think this information package is kind of what people are first waiting for, and then they're waiting for a hard date of, we've mentioned a few times like soft fundraising. We said, yeah, we're raising funds. Yeah, here's this form, fill it out. But from what I've seen of that list of the applicants, I checked the other day, and I don't see any of the like big interested donors that we have been hoping for. But I mean, they're probably not the ones to fill out the form. They're the ones that want, kind of a one-on-one information session. And if they're interested, they'll put in the money. But I do think we need to set some dates for that if we are expecting, to have certain amounts. And I mean, if that's September 30th for $1 million, then I mean, that's a date. That's a hard date. And I mean, it's been taking a bit longer than we expected to get all of our ducks in a row to have these information packages. But I mean, we are very close. As soon as we have these last few glossary terms and diagrams sorted, then I think we're ready to roll on that and start getting this information package out to people. Do you think they need a few weeks, or okay, what is it now? End of June, July, August, September. So that gives 3 months, to consider. Is that too long? Is that, we're also incredibly busy over that period. Sorry, go ahead.
It's too long for sure, but I'm just gone in August. It's like, so like, I don't know. It's, and then we have DAPCon and all this stuff that's going to be like, I think there's a lot of information that's going to be released then, and a lot of gathering of momentum up till then. And then, so it's, I mean, I think we can always start fundraising, softly for this whole period of time. And then when we kick it hard and go, having that be basically aligned with all the stuff in August feels pretty good. And if we can keep like this content momentum.
Yeah. And maybe, if we, I guess my first deliverable is this information package. And then, I can focus on content for the next couple of months and just push more articles and, a couple of deep dives and a couple of explainers on the importance of token engineering. I pulled that article out and I'm ready to work on that one again. So we can definitely use the next few months just to push a ton of content, get people excited about it, and then shift back into like hard fundraising mode. For the month of September, maybe after Burning Man.
And during DAppCon for sure, we need to, because
that's going to be a huge, huge common stack week for sure. And we'll have the advisor meeting. We're going to have, everything is converging around that time.
Yeah, if it feels good, if it's like, oh yeah, we can start fundraising, then fine. Obviously, let's start taking people's money. If people will give it to us, and we feel like we have a safe ask, but and then if we hit $1 million early, we can probably open source CAD and do all that stuff if Z has the space. But like going deep into the specs, like I just won't be able to do that until September.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so so we'll keep the soft fundraise as a plan throughout the summer. We'll prioritize getting this information package out in people's hands and also a bunch of content. But we won't set any hard. We'll definitely push those people who are super interested. And it could be like the Simons, the Trents, the whoever, is already understands and is interested in this. We can say, look, we're starting the fundraise, but stuff is pretty crazy until end of summer. We're not going to be doing our hard fundraise or spec building or anything like that until September. But I think some of them could be, amenable to knowing that, we do need some funds to get this started. And then if we don't raise that $1 million by September 30th, that's our, money back guarantee.
Yeah, and we could put the advisor like 3x thing for, whatever date we want, right? Like we can say, listen, any donations you guys give us, we'll get you on the whitelist at 3x, but only if it's before this date.
Right.
And maybe we make that date, the end, like August 30th, so that we have the in-person advisor meeting and all of that.
That would probably be fair to those advisors. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing we should invite Sherman to that. Hey, she's not in our channel on our advisor list, but
definitely.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and by then, who knows? Maybe we'll picked up with another advisor or two. I don't think so, but Sherman for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Well, cool guys. I think that's it.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other topics or questions or concerns before we end out?
No. Okay, cool. Well, see you guys next week. Well, I guess Bernd, I'll probably be talking to you in like what, 2 hours or something.
What? No, this is my meeting.
Yeah, well, the same room. So
in 1 hour if possible. So
Yeah, 1 hour is fine.
perfect.
cool.
Okay. See you guys.
See you guys
Cool.
later.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right.